Welcome to the third episode of A Super Conversation. Thank you again to Lynn English Senior Gafour Diallo for joining me in March. What an impressive young man. The idea for this podcast is to meet the key stakeholders in Lynn Public Schools, and there aren't many who have been stakeholders longer than today's guest. She spent 12 years as a student in LPS, graduating from Lynn Classical in 1983. She went on to Wheaton College, where she earned a degree in chemistry with minors in math and English literature at Wheaton. She was part of the last all-female graduating class. She also earned certification from the Salem State Graduate School of Education. She returned to Lynn Classical to teach 38 years ago. She has taught all levels of high school math and chemistry, starting as a long-term sub in biology. She currently teaches honors chemistry and chemistry to multilingual learners. She also spent 10 years as a dean of students. Welcome to A Super Conversation and a true LPS lifer, Christine Lander.
Thank you.
Well, welcome aboard. So,
thank you.
I don't know where to begin. That is a very long time in the
Yes.
Lynn Public Schools. So maybe we start at the beginning and you tell us a little bit about the 12 years that you were in the Lynn Public Schools as a student.
Awesome. Well, I'm a West Lynn girl. Started at Sewell Anderson, rolled down the hill in 5th grade and went to Tracy Elementary School. Went to the Old Breed, which is now Druitt's. And then we moved to the New Breed up on O'Callahan Way. Can't believe we're calling it the New Breed. Not so new anymore. Then I went to classical and graduated from classical on the Commons in '83. So 12 years right through the Lynn Public Schools, all walking the entire time. No one was driving us around.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Yeah. And then you go to Wheaton and you're majoring in chemistry, but you're minoring in literature?
Yes, I needed to get away from the numbers and the chemicals and the glassware and the washing all the things, and it gave me an escape. And I'm an avid reader. I love to read, so it was something for me to find some time away from all those equations.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So then how did you come to the Lynn Public Schools as an educator?
So my dad was a teacher. He taught at Lynn English for a number of years. So I do have as a lifelong Ram, I do have great memories of my dad being at English. So when tides go up, all boats rise. So I'm grateful when any school succeeds. So when my dad was a teacher, I had the was older and got a little bit sick. I had the opportunity to start working in classical when I graduated. They needed a long-term sub in science. I fit the bill. I was able to stay home and take care of my dad, and I found I loved it. I found that explaining difficult things to younger people was something I like to do.
Yeah. So let's talk about your dad just a little bit.
Sure.
So your dad is at English.
Yep.
You're at classical. You're going to the Thanksgiving Day football games.
Well, so for years, that's one of my fondest memories. Thanksgiving Day football games. Everybody was at the Thanksgiving Day football game. Everybody walked to Manning Field, Manning Bowl back in the day. We walked to Manning Bowl. We walked back home. So we supported Lynn English. I went on the fan bus as a little kid when he taught there, but as we got older, he moved up into administration.
Oh.
So when I became a teacher, he had been as Title I director at the ad building down on Franklin Street. So we weren't in the classroom at the same time, but I think I took a lot of his traits with me in the classroom.
Yeah. And so even though he was a big role in education, as a young person, you weren't thinking about becoming a teacher?
No, but I don't think I have the lab personality. I'm not into the repetition. I love the research. I love the growth. I love the challenge. I love the way it expands. But repetition is not my thing. I found joy in the fact that I can go home from work every single day, 180 days out of a school year, and say, you're not going to believe what happened to classical today. Might be the best thing, might be the worst thing, but that excitement of something different every day captured me right away.
Yeah. And I imagine you used your math minor as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I loved teaching math. I really liked teaching math. So I was able to use that teaching chemistry as well.
Yeah. And then you did 10 years in the dean position, which is like an administrator.
It was, yes. So I was out of the classroom, and when we moved to this building, the administration organization sort of changed. And we went from having a principal, we had a vice principal, and then we had deans of students. So we handled different grades with academics, and I handled all the, just what kids cutting class, kids coming in the front door, going out the back door, all those kinds of fun things. But that has a shelf life. And that can age someone over time. And then my friend Sue Mulholland retired, Mary Jane and Sue Mulholland retired, and I got the opportunity to become an academic dean, which I didn't like.
Interesting.
Tough to say, but
Yeah.
it wasn't student facing. It was a lot of paper, it was a lot of reports, it was a lot of filing of things, and I was fine at it, but it was not as student facing, and I really, really missed that. So I liked the opportunity to go back in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this interview. I
Sure.
think I mentioned that this morning when I saw you. It's so fascinating to me that you have been in education from before the Educational Reform Act of 1993
Yes.
through the No Child Left Behind. You were here at 9/11, and then you were here at the Every Student Succeeds Act.
Yes.
And then you were here during COVID. These are all like huge, life-changing to the educational system,
Sure.
to the students, to how they experience school. You can go anywhere with that question. I'm curious about the impact that you saw, how the Reform Act changed education.
Sure.
Anything that you want to talk about. There were so many things there.
Sure. I'll tell you, I've loved watching the development of students and the development of teachers at the same time. How we develop our students and how we developed our teachers have both changed over that same period of time. The pathway to becoming a teacher has gone zigzag a lot. It's become very difficult for people who truly believe and are passionate about teaching to get to that certification sometimes. And so hasn't the student that sits in front of us, has changed too. The immigration population that's come into Lynn has changed dramatically from when I was a student in the classroom to when I first started in the classroom to when we physically moved our building here. That changed the type of students, the kind of students that came, because we redistricted a little bit. So all those changes coming from being certified in 1988, and it said certified for life right on my license. But those things change, as we all know. I'd love to see those two things where we take the development of teachers and the development of students and find some common ground with the two of them. I see new teachers now. I've learned more from new teachers, I think, than I learned from my mentor teachers. These new teachers, what they're coming out of college with, and with their advanced degrees, the lessons and the excitement and the development of their craft is incredible. It really is incredible. But the pandemic really set us all back. It taught me, an old ram, a lot of new tricks. I can imagine as a leader of a school, I mean, shout out to you for leading a school through a pandemic, because I know those little black boxes on those computer screens. It was a lonely time to be a teacher. It was a very lonely time to be a teacher.
Yeah. And what about the students? How have they changed their needs? How has their, engagement in the classroom changed in what
They're
you've seen?
older. They're older, but I love 10th graders. I teach sophomores because I love that age. I see so much growth and develop in 10th grade. They come in as 9th graders and they're nervous and they're giddy and they're fidgety and all these other things, and then they realize they can do hard things and that they can take a little chance, and that, hey, you know what? I can make a mistake. It's okay. You know what? It's going to be fine. So I've always loved sophomores. I just don't see them taking as many academic risks as they used to. I want to see that confidence. I want to see them believe that it's okay. I don't get it now. I don't get it yet, that growth mindset. No matter how much we try and build it up, I don't see it growing in the kids as much as I used to see it. Kids used to demand a good class. Kids used to come in and have the book open and all the things, and they would look at me and wait for something to happen. Now the teacher is more of the leader in the classroom, I see. I'd love to see the students take more impetus.
And do you have any theory as to why that might be? Especially about the risk taking and the making mistakes.
Sure. And I don't know if there's just more at risk to making mistakes now. I don't know if they feel that everything is more high stakes. They either really want to stay out, or they just want to be, let's just all fit in. I just want to be part of the crowd. So we don't really see that little kid who finds his way out of the middle to the top as much anymore. And I miss those kids, because those are the kids that really that really change a career. When
Yeah.
you see that, because that's the best thing too. When you see that light bulb go on, that kid finally gets it, or the kid that comes back, you had him as a sophomore, and they come back, I'm going to nursing school. Guess what? I got into Harvard, or whatever it is. It's just really exciting to see
Yeah.
those things as well.
Yeah. So now I'm going to ask a vulnerable question of me.
Go ahead.
So, superintendent
Yes.
and superintendent of schools, and this observation that you've made about students not taking risks, it hits hard, right?
Sure.
It hit. This is. I wonder, as an administration, whether it's the Lynn Public Schools administration or school administration, or if it's society, but where did we lose sight that fail is first attempt in learning?
Right.
Where did we lose that? Because my husband used to work for Amazon, and one of their guiding principles, they only had 10, was fail fast.
Yep.
Fail fast. Do something,
Yep.
learn from it, iterate it, do it better, learn from it, do it better. And I think in chemistry,
Correct.
that must be...
That's the only, right. It's the only way. It's the only way. It's not balanced yet. It doesn't work out yet.
Yeah.
You don't have that, right. It's a growth mindset.
Right.
You can't do it yet.
Right.
And I do see that. I think our school has grown, right? I mean, I remember when we were down at the Common, we were down at 500, 600 kids, and now we're growing in leaps and bounds, and we're offering this wide variety. You can go early college, you can take AP, you can early college at North Shore. There are tracks, there's After Dark, there's all these other wonderful kinds of programs, and I don't know if we really give that kid that mentor or that impetus to find out truly what is it the thing we want. In our advisory, we have that opportunity, but I don't know if that's enough to really give a student that mentor that can say, okay, we don't want, everybody's not going to go to college. We'd like that for everybody, but we have kids mass hire, we have kids going into the trades, we have kids going to all different kinds of places, and I wonder if when we keep saying you're going to go to a 4-year college, if some kids just don't feel that right away and feel that, oh, let me feel my way through high school first before I go off onto the other things. Yeah.
So do you think that we don't offer enough opportunity for students to make mistakes, because that's what you should be doing when you're learning, and that we're trying to fit them into a pathway instead of saying, like, just do this a little longer and see if you like it?
And I think part of what happens is everything gets scripted, right? They take all the same classes up until they get to about 10th grade, and then it opens up for them. So all the 9th graders come in, and most of them take algebra, they take English 10, they teach English 9, they teach all the same things. And then when they finish chemistry in 10th grade, they get an opportunity to see a whole lot of things. And I just think in 10th grade, they don't really know what they want yet. So I always encourage them to look at it as 2 years, junior year and senior year. What are the things that you want to take? I think we offer a whole lot of opportunity. I don't think we talk enough about what it looks like later on. Why? And I tell them all the time, learning chemistry, that's great, but I really want to teach you to do difficult things. It's important to know what's happening in nature around us. It's important to be able to understand chemical equations on all those atoms and molecules and those kinds of things. But really, part of it is, what's chemistry going to do for you later on? And you can do hard things. And that is sometimes the content, I hate to say it, is almost secondary to getting the kid to meet that challenge. You can do this. It's fun. And it's fun when it's multilingual. I'll tell you, the multi-language learners changed my life.
Yeah.
In
I was
the
going to
past-
ask about that. That's one of the classes you teach,
Yes,
chemistry.
this year I teach 2 sections of students who've been in the country for less than 3 years, and they're taking chemistry. They're speaking, writing, reading, and listening to chemistry all week long in a language that is foreign to them. And my Spanish, the Spanish they have taught me, when I tell you, it's amazing. They've taught me more than I could ever have learned.
Yeah, terrific.
And again, like I said, me scaffolding those lessons, differentiating them, making them into projects rather than assessments, or making them into self-paced activities rather than something that's timed. That's made me better in my other classes too. When it's changed everything I do, my impact on everything else I do.
Yeah. I was thinking about, it just occurred to me that you went to, how many schools did you go to in the Lynn Public Schools
Well, I
before
actually
you
went-
landed at Classical?
I only went to 4. I went
4.
But we moved buildings. We had to
buildings. You
move the
moved
buildings.
around. Okay.
We moved the buildings. They physically moved. Druitt's used to be Breed Junior High.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
then
you
they
had to
moved
go.
up, yeah.
Right.
So
But then you land here.
Yes.
And you
Never left.
never left classical.
I thought about it, and sometimes I have to think that things happen for a reason. I looked at other positions in other schools. I've been to a lot of other districts with accreditation. I worked with DESE on some of their test development for MTELs and for chemistry assessment. So I've had opportunities to look at other districts, but the grass isn't always greener. And I think for part of it, it's comfort. It's a level of comfort. These are my people. I know what to, but I never know what to expect, but I know what to expect. You know, I know what to expect, but I never know what to expect. The best of both worlds, right?
Yeah. So what would you tell to a new, you mentioned how new teachers are very skilled
Yes.
coming out of college.
Correct.
But I'm thinking about they might be coming from environments or communities that are different than those like Lynn. And we do have one of the highest populations of multilingual learners,
Yes.
which is something that you find joy in.
Yes.
But some people find challenging.
It is challenging.
So how do you support and advise new teachers who are transitioning? They have all this skill here, and then they have a very different context.
I will tell them that although it will get easier, but it will always be difficult. It will be new. I literally in 42 days, I'm going to retire from this job, and I'm creating lessons. I'm working on my final exams. I'm editing things that I'm never going to teach in this classroom again, because it doesn't end until it's over, until the last day of school. So I tell teachers that yes, this is difficult, but accept what you're good at and accept what you're not good at, because we are not all good at everything. There's plenty of things that I stink at. So find what you're really good at, and find someone else who's really good at what you're not at, what you're not good at, and get a buddy.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a teacher buddy.
Yeah.
Everybody does. But I found being vulnerable to the kids was helpful too.
Speak more about that.
Being vulnerable to the kids, because I've said that especially to the multilingual learners. I am not comfortable speaking Spanish. I am not comfortable speaking Spanish, but we're not going to get anywhere unless one of us talks. So they have to see me. So seeing me stumble, bumble, ¿cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice? Through my Spanish shows them that this is hard, that this is a challenge, that if I can't do it perfectly either. I don't expect perfection from you either.
Right.
So showing them my vulnerabilities, and then being sad, telling them being sad, being happy, celebrating their success, being happy when they're there, being disappointed when they're not, just letting them know you're people. One of the funniest things I've had for years, the same PowerPoint. And I've been talking about proportions and how you build things. And for years, I've used this PowerPoint, and I always wanted to have a convertible. I always wanted a 2-seater convertible, and I manifested it. So one year, I said, here's the slide, here's my original car, and in the next slide, there's a picture of me sitting in a black convertible. And I said, see, you can manifest this. I am a girl from Lynn. I'm a girl from Lynn. I'm just like you. I live in Lynn, born and bred, and I can be happy, and I can be successful. I could have more, I could have less, but be grateful for who you are and what you have. That's another lesson I like to teach the teachers and the kids.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the teachers think what they don't have is what they really want, but I don't think the new teachers really know what they want. They think they got a picture of what it's supposed to look like, but it never looks like that. Ever, ever, ever. Lesson number 1.
You're right.
Doesn't look like that.
Right. So what could you describe? What is a great class that brings joy for you? Like, this isn't a lesson to teachers, but just for yourself, how would you describe when a class that you come out of and you just feel filled with joy and gratitude?
It's loud. It's loud. It's student-centered. It's activity-based. And there's questions. I don't want to be in my chair for 1 minute. And I that's not a dig on anybody, because I do sit down.
Yeah.
You can sit down when you teach. Can I say that right in the camera? You can sit down when you teach. But that activity, I want it to be loud. I want the teacher next door to pop in and go, oh, that's what you're doing in here.
Yeah.
And I want them to have something at the end, just one product, whether it's a one-pager or one thing that I accomplished this. This is what we set out to do. There's an agenda. We checked the boxes. We yelled. We had some activity, and now we have a product. That's a great class.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then
And it's loud, right?
yes,
Good
yeah, you
teaching
want to
and
hear the
activity is
thinking.
loud. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And then I'm going to push you again on thinking back to a moment with a student or a few that just like your heart exploded, right?
Oh my God, there've been some beautiful moments, some happy, joyous moments. When I think of down at the old school, I hate to say this, but back at the old classical, we had back-to-back boys basketball championships, and those boys came back on a fire truck, and you couldn't have been more pumped up for that. We had another young lady who won a contest because she did a monologue, and in Hamilton. She submitted a monologue from Hamilton, and the whole class got to go see Hamilton in Boston, and they all celebrated her.
Yeah.
So those were some, and there's been some sad moments too. There's been loss, teachers, students, and when you can help students face that loss and teach them that there's acceptance and that we can move on and that we can still find joy in things and that we can be grateful for the time we had. Those are important moments to have with kids. And those are some of the moments, obviously the most difficult moments. But we have some really dedicated faculty here. When I tell you the teachers in this building, if you walk through this building right now when we leave here, you're going to find 36 teachers still in their rooms, in the gym, wherever, just working. So I'm just grateful for those people too, giving those extra moments to this craft.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So here we are at Classical.
Yep.
And there is something about Rams bleed green.
Yes, they do.
And what is it? Can you describe some of the magical elixir of being a Classical Ram?
It is a long-lasting tradition. So if you come in, like when you come in our front door, we took a lot of the art and the feelings and the prizes and the awards, and we brought them. We brought our history with us here. So we have trophies and pictures and artwork, and there's a beautiful mosaic in our cafeteria that shows all of the beautiful things in West Lynn. So I think moving us was different too. When you live in Lynn, you sort of get used to Lynn and where Lynn is. But there is something different about here when you can look out and, I can see trees, I can walk out and walk to Rumney Marsh. We take kids over to the marsh. There's a playground across the street. We have Callahan, we have Breed, and people can complain about the traffic, but our high school kids go over and see little kids.
Yeah.
They walk from Breed right down the street to Classical, so that community here is really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is it that you're able to integrate so many multilingual learner families or new immigrants into that tradition?
Our school has built this year a sort of academy for some of our students. For some of our students, it's worked out well. But we also have guidance counselors that specifically deal with that population. We have amazing social workers. We have a vice principal, crazy good. Amanda Curtis is crazy good with that population. And we have a lot of people here who work just communicating with families, which is wonderful. And I'll tell you, we have a wonderful multicultural evening every year that we celebrate with dance and food and all those good things. So we reach out to the parents, and we find that when we connect with the parents, it can't hurt.
Yeah.
Can't hurt.
Yeah.
You get an honest relationship then. If you look them right in the eye, you'll get the honesty.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah.
So we have a tradition here on the Supers Conversation where we end with a lightning round of questions.
Okay, let's go.
So no time to think, just answer. Ready?
Yes.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite music?
Bruce Springsteen.
Favorite book?
Oh, boy.
So many.
Oh, there's a lot of books. Oh, there's a lot of books. The Women.
Okay. Favorite sports team?
Red Sox.
And favorite thing to do when you're not teaching?
Go to the beach. I'm a beach bum.
Excellent. Well, Christine, thank you.
I'm honored.
For all the years of service that you have given to the Lynn Public Schools, including your years as a student.
Oh, thank you.
Which puts us, what, at over 50?
We are at 50 at the end of this year, 50 years.
Well, we are so
you.
lucky to have you for
Thank
those
you.
50 years, and good luck with your next 50 years.
Thank you. 50 more. I don't know if I need 50 more, but thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us on a super conversation. We look forward to our next month.